Disclaimer: everything that is discussed, posted is strictly for educational and historical purposes only. It does not promote nor condone illegal activities. Ablizin'S champion Luther. Stp bred Luther in the summer of 1993. Here he was brought up and schooled. I purchased Luther when he was 3 years old. I came to visit Stp and Luther attracted my attention. He looked very powerful and strong and was a lively dog. So one like him a lot, but as I basically intended to buy another, I just didn't have enough money with me for Luther. So I left a deposit and bought Luther within the next couple of months. Luther had 3 rolls in one of them. He stopped a 10-pound bigger dog in 25 minutes. Luther was a very promising dog, and I liked his breeding a lot. A month and a half had passed after Luther arrived to my yard, and I decided to take a look at him first and then make a decision about his future career. 8 minutes in a square was enough to see everything what Stp told me about Luther. Well, I opened Luther at 47 pounds, but nobody answered for 3 months. I challenged some best Russian dogmen and dogs such as Iron King, Red Alert 4XW, Harvey's Son 2XW, and some Chinaman bred dogs. For this reason, or that reason, nobody wanted a match into me. So I had to accept an offer from Poltava. They had a dog at 49.5 pounds, or Iron, Red Boy, Jocko, Jeep Cross called George. I knew we would have to go uphill, but I really wanted to show Luther and decided to go ahead with a match. That was one of the best matches I have ever seen. Both dogs were fast and worked hard. Both were in good condition. Luther was driving, trying to get the shoulders. George worked the head and back end. Luther managed to get where he wanted 3 or 4 times, and his hard mouth had its influence on the final result. It was almost even until 20, with George a bit ahead and being the bigger dog. From 20 and until 40, Luther is on the bottom but working the mouth hard and pulls ahead by 55. After 5 scratches each, George is picked up at 109 and made a very game scratch. Well, I have to give credit to George that he deserves. He is a game dog. In this match, Luther broke everything what you can imagine. He broke George's shoulder, legs, jaw, in several places, but George never made anybody doubt when he was asked to scratch. Dogs don't usually survive after damage like that, but thanks to the care of George's owner and a qualified help of a vet who spent almost 3 weeks near George, the dog survived and is able to produce now. In this match, Luther lost 8 teeth and got bad damage of his back end. I decided to retie Luther as I thought that lacking 8 teeth, he was obviously not a match dog anymore. But Luther seemed to have another opinion and behaved fight crazy and finally made me change my mind. I accepted a challenge from Crimea by a guy with a one-time winner called Jocker. This match was held at the height of summer at 46 pounds. Luther came in at 44 pounds. Jocker was 45.5 pounds. The first minutes of the match revealed all the mistakes I made during the keep. Luther looked overtrained. He was obviously too light and not only couldn't make any damage, but was not even able to break the skin. From 10 until the very end, Luther was a bottom dog. My wife and my friends tried to persuade me to pick him up as he just took the damage with no chance to win. But I saw that he was not in shock and breathed well. I couldn't bring myself to stop it. Besides, he scratched so hard I was worried he would get a concussion going across. After 19 scratches each, Jocker refused to go at 201 and Luther made a hard courtesy. This match took away one more tooth from Luther's mouth together with both of his ears. Jocker tore off one of the ears during the match. We worked on the other for about 10 days, trying to sew it on, but it didn't help and we finally cut it off. Also, his front leg was damaged badly and it actually never recovered completely. So I didn't even think about matching him anymore, but that's what happened sometime later. I went to neighboring state of Ukraine to match 2 of my dogs. After the show, a guy came up to me and offered a match at 46 pounds. I said that I didn't have a dog at the weight and suggested him match into a friend of mine. But they didn't come to the agreement for some reason, and the guy challenged me again. Luther seemed to get the idea of what was going on and just went mad. Though he was a bit lame in the front leg and his left hind, he looked powerful and lively. I knew it was not reasonable to match him, but my wife persuaded me and I did accept the challenge from Ukraine by this guy with a 1x winner called Devil. I believe the reason of why Luther couldn't bite in the second match was the poor conditioning. So I decided to go for championship with him. We traveled to the Ukraine. Luther came in at 46.25, devil in weight. I pay forfeit and matches on. Luther gets in and takes a good chest hold. That makes me feel better as I see that he will be bite in this match, probably not as hard as in his first one, but sure harder than the second does. Devil takes Luther off with a good mouth hold and punches his muzzle and also tears in the mouth of the upper jaw. Now I can study anatomy of a dog's mouth watching the roots of Luther's teeth. Within the first 20 minutes both dogs showed good mouth and both took some severe damage. From 20 Luther is on the bottom but always in a hold. Around this time Luther gets his left shoulder fractured. At about the 40-minute mark Luther starts to work the mouth harder and harder. Devil loose a couple of teeth and goes to the bottom. Now Luther is on a down dog. Devil cries for help and is picked up at 49. He stands the line on his courtesy. Luther scratches hard as usual. Devil is dead now. Now Luther is a champion. He spent 4 hours in the pit in 3 matches, lost 10 teeth and suffered multiple injuries. He showed everything, deep gameness, strength, and a very hard mouth. He comes from the line of high-quality matchdogs and great producers. His father has already sired 3 champions and a lot of one-time winners and 2 ex-winners. I believe he will make ROM in 1998. Luther comes from an all-game litter. Among his littermates are 2 one-time winners and 1 two-time winner, and they are still being campaigned. 2 of his littermate sisters are in STP now, and 1 is on the yard of Captain America. WCC have one of Luther's brothers, and second to none has one of his sisters. All of these dogs are used in breeding. I hope Luther will produce well too. He has sired 2 litters to the moment, and it's too early to make judgments. Some interesting breeding have been already planned for him. Champion Luther has become the Pitman Times Dog of the Year of 1997 in Russia. Signed Dmitry Ablizin. Well, there you have it, folks, the story of Ablizin, SDP, Champion Luther 3XW.